Welcome to another episode of Our Inner Sparks Featured Insights. I am Lily Yan, your host of this podcast and founder of Our Inner Sparks, a social enterprise that provides products and services to enable individuals, businesses, and organizations to reach their fullest potentials in a fast and ever-changing world. We dedicate a portion of our profits to support and fund social programs to empower and enable those in the community, especially women in need. On our podcast, we will be featuring some amazing women in our communities doing extraordinary things. They will also be sharing some information, tips, and strategies around the area of their expertise to enable all of us to excel in our lives. If you like our program, please don't forget to subscribe. Just click on the subscribe button on your screen. If you would like to continually support the growth of our Inner Sparks social programs, such as this podcast, please consider a one-time or a subscription of donations on our website. Now, let's get to today's feature. Today, we're going to speak to JB Lexington, a serial entrepreneur and also a published author. We met a while ago on Twitter. I thought she has such great energy and wonderful stories to tell, hence inviting her to our Inner Sparks podcast to speak to all of you and share her experience, her energy, and her view on pushing through those risks and fears that you may encounter as you pursue your passion. Let's get to it now. Hello, JB. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to our Inner Sparks.
Oh, thanks, Lily, for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Oh, so nice to have you. So I know you sometimes refer yourself to as a serial entrepreneur. I'm so excited to talk to you because I think it's wonderful to have that energy and really also that passion and then taking the actions. So let's jump right into it. Let's do a self-introduction for the audience. JB, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your passion in life?
I'm on Twitter as JB Lexington, which is my author name. And I was following a bunch of your videos, and I thought this is a perfect connection, for me to meet with you because of what I do in life. You mentioned that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love to just be involved in everything, which is a little exhausting sometimes, but if there's even an inkling of interest in something that's happening, I want to try and see if I can succeed at it. And if I don't succeed at it, that's okay too, but at least I've tried. So that is with everything that I've done in life, and we're going to go into it a little deeper of how I kind of started in my 20s to where I am now at, almost 50. Everything has been to elevate my interest to the next level and hope that I can inspire people along the way.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, good.
And it's also, I think, connecting dots, right? Even talking about, one thing may lead to a different thing, and just how, the journey went. And sometimes what you're talking about may be unpredictable. It's not something that you planned for. It sounded like you like you said, you enjoy something or you have an interest in something, and then you just have this attitude, you're going to explore it.
Yeah.
Discover it.
Yeah. Just to kind of go a little further on that, people shouldn't be afraid to fail if they're going to try it. It's okay to fail. Like at least you've gone into a situation and you've tried it out, and not everything is going to be a success, and that's okay. And I think that's where we're trying to get at, whether as women or raising our children or as couples, like you're not going to be perfect at everything, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you talked about writing books, and we're going to get back to that. But what other business or experience in entrepreneurship you've had?
Sure. Currently, with my husband and I, we own a construction company. We live in Toronto, and that's where our business is based out of. Mm-hmm. That was the most recent venture in the last 4 years that we decided to buy this company, and we've managed to continue it running successfully, which is good.
Especially now during the COVID, right? So that's kudos to you guys.
Yeah, there was no guarantee, but we've made it work, and it's we're having fun with it, but we're also successful with it, and that's what's important right now. Oh my gosh, I've done everything from I was a caterer, I sold jewelry, I now and of course now parallel to what I'm doing in my current life, I'm a writer. So I've dabbled in a bit of everything. I ran a medical clinic for a while.
Wow. Yeah. No kidding, eh? Whatever you have inkling of interest, you're just gonna give it a try. Why not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that taking action is the most important thing as an entrepreneur. A lot of people have ideas and visions, but jumping into it and doing something about it takes a lot of courage. So you definitely have shown a lot of courage.
Yes,
and fearlessly, went through all this. Talking about being fearless, I mean, you being a female leader in a very male-dominant constructions industry.
Absolutely.
What is it like? Tell us about that for a female leader like yourself.
Well, the construction industry is interesting. There's so many areas that you can be involved in. Obviously, there's a lot of women in the architecture side, the design side, the engineering side. That's all great. There's very few in the actual construction side of it, like the building end of it, and that's what I do. I kind of went into it with a bit of an upper hand because I'd already been working with the company for 15 years. And when I was very close with the previous owner, I essentially ran the company for him on the financial side and everything else. And on top of being his personal assistant and, just keeping him calm and mellow every day because he was the typical old school construction guy. So I kind of, like I said, I went in with a bit of an upper hand. So I knew a lot of the contacts and I'd already made my network. So the transition wasn't too difficult, but there was still some challenges. Like there were clients that, even though I had dealt with in the past, when they found out that we had bought the company, and the purpose of bringing my husband into, because he's in the industry, but from a different sector. And it just made sense for us to amalgamate the two companies together instead of running it as two separate ones.
Right.
So I was talking to a client and early on when we first purchased it, and he said, we were talking about getting together for a client meeting for a project that we had been awarded. And he said, well, I think it's a good idea if, your husband comes to the meeting. And I said, well, why is that? And he says, well, because, he's the man of the company. And I said, he doesn't run the construction side. I run the construction side. Therefore, I'm the representative that will be coming to the meeting. And I don't think there should be any problem with that. Do you have a problem with that? And all of a sudden he backed off because I don't think whether he intended it to be sexist or not, I don't know, but that's exactly how it was received. And I can't imagine how anybody would receive it any other way.
I'm so glad you addressed it.
I did. I cut it off at the knees right away for sure.
I mean, you were firm, but you were still very respectful. And right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I am. I'm always very respectful. I mean, the industry itself has a bit of a stigma because, it's male dominant, and they always talk, construction workers are always portrayed in movies of whistling at women as they walk by. Yeah, there is a bit of a subculture that still exists like that, but it's definitely evolving, and having women like me or owners that happen to be women, or more women engineers or women architects, that's happening less and less because there is a mutual respect that's being developed.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, and I'm glad to see that kind of development in that industry. You alluded to, you became an author as well.
Yes.
So let's talk about, why did you start? What made you decide to start writing a book?
Well, in keeping with my habit of just jumping off the cliff to start something new, it kind of went hand in hand. I had finished reading a series of books that were in a similar genre to what I write. Like there's a bit of a, there's some sexy scenes, there's lots of love stories, stuff like that. And I'd read a few like from different authors. And I just thought, me being the strong woman that I am, I kind of took, I didn't love the way that the female characters were being portrayed in certain situations. So I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to try and write a book. I know that sounds terrible because it's not that easy, and it wasn't that easy. But I just said, you know what? I have a story in me that I'm going to narrate from my perspective, being a strong female character in my own life, and I'm just going to see what comes of it. There was no expectation of it, making any money or becoming popular or whatever. I felt like I owed it to the women that I know, and I have a daughter that I'm raising, that to always have a strong female voice, and with a bit of fantasy, because there's nothing wrong with the fantasy element. And that's kind of where it started. That and the correlation of turning 40, and like we hadn't bought the company yet, and I was kind of feeling kind of stuck. Like, I feel like I haven't done something. Like I'm missing something else in my life right now, and that just happened to kind of come around at the same time. So then I started writing, and I wrote the book. Within 6 months, I was published.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you basically had a story of a strong woman main character that you want to portray.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think that a lot of these type of books that you're talking about tend not to have those type of main characters. So I'm glad somebody's, like yourself, is attempting to do this, because it really, the books are a way of people getting leisure, but at the same time, people are learning from that, right? Just no different than the movies that we're watching. It's so great to see those main characteristics start changing for female lead, right? So I'm glad to see that you're doing the same thing, and you had a story you wanted to tell, and you're doing it. Yeah,
that was it. Like, don't get me wrong, there's of course many books out there where there's really strong female representation. I wanted to develop one on my own, and see how far I could take her, and put her in situations, real life situations like abuse and mental health and a bunch of other things. See how I could work around it from my perspective on, and make it relatable, make her relatable without disrespecting any of those real life issues that people deal with.
Absolutely. Brilliant. What is your favorite moment on this journey writing your own story?
The favorite moment was when I first finished writing it and getting my first acceptance email that it was actually going to be published, because there was definitely validation. And I truly appreciate the publisher, the first publisher that took a risk on me, which was great. The story has since evolved, and there's this, I think I'm on my third edition of it, because I've rewritten it a few times, which was good. I'm glad I had to go through all of that, because there were moments in the book where I read it back and I was like, oh, if I had to do it again, I'd write it this way. And I got that opportunity. So I guess a good part for me has been the way that I've been able to allow it to evolve to the story in its truest sense.
Kind of like life too, right? A little bit. Absolutely. Right? So, we're never, always, I guess we're very critical of ourselves too, right? Like, I have to say that very often we look back and go, oh, this is something I could do differently, or could do a little bit better. And there is you feel like there's no do-over, but that's not true, because every moment in time, there's a do-over. You can do it differently the next time you meet a very similar situation. So, that's cool.
Yeah, and everybody has another chapter in life, right? So, like, just write the next chapter the way you want it to be written. Like, I don't say it's that easy. It's just it's available. The option is there. So you just have to be willing to, like I said at the beginning, fail, and it's okay to fail.
That's so important to remember. So we're gonna get into the next segment.
Okay.
And it's called In Search of True Fulfillment.
Okay.
In this segment, we have 3 questions.
Okay.
Each of them, you will have an opportunity to answer it in 10 words or one sentence. So pretty short. We're looking for like a gut reaction of what you think your answer would be for these. Okay.
Okay. I don't test well. Don't put me on the spot.
It's not a test. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just how JB feels about these.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So number one, how do you define success?
Ooh. I define success by finding what you love and doing it.
Yeah.
That is success to me. Like if you are doing what you love to do, then you are successful in life. It doesn't mean that you're making money. It doesn't mean you're a millionaire. It doesn't mean anything. If you are loving what you're doing, then you have succeeded.
100%.
Yeah.
And you're doing it, JB.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Number two, what makes JB happy in life?
Oh, my family. 100%. My husband and my 2 kids.
Oh,
Nothing else. Nothing else matters in my life.
so wonderful. Third, what is one thing that everyone can take away from your journey that could help them ignite or harvest their inner sparks?
Risk, jump off the cliff. You will be okay.
You know what? That is so true. A lot of us have this fear of jumping off the cliff and there's nothing there and we're going to fall and we're going to, something bad is really going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to be smooth. And I always tell people too, because when I started this, I had the same feeling, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm going to jump off. And I took a deep breath and it's like, okay, am I going to wake up tomorrow?
Yeah.
But you will, and it's okay. You'll
hit the bottom and it's okay. Like it's not a bottomless pit.
No.
You'll hit the bottom and it might hurt, but it might not hurt. Yeah. But you have to take the risk.
It could be bumpy.
Yeah.
But if you don't jump, you'll never know. And then you always wonder.
That's right.
Right? I know a lot of people keep that, dream or the passion or the vision that they have in the back of their head forever. And they keep on thinking, one day maybe.
Yeah, I think it comes too from people who are always worried. I'm generalizing, not everybody, but and we've all experienced this where we fear judgment sometimes, right? Where we think that, oh, I could never put myself out there like that because what if somebody doesn't like what I have to say, or what if someone doesn't like the way I look, or what if, and once you overcome that, it's really freeing and liberating. It's like, you know what? I'm going to make myself a priority. I'm going to be true to me. And Dr. Seuss said it perfectly, right? He said, so those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter.
Oh.
And that's a Dr. Seuss saying. And I know there's controversy around him right now, but he says some really profound things. So I'm going to use that because I think it's really important.
Yes. So kind of, this leads perfectly into our next segment, which is the features insight. And what we usually talk about is, an insight you have in your expertise. And I think you spoke already quite a bit about this, but really the energy of that entrepreneurship, right? So do you have like a few recommendations for people who have brilliant ideas and a passion in their life, but they just don't know if they can do it, or if they're just not sure if they should do it, or, and they don't know what to maybe even do first, right? Do you have any recommendations for them?
As nasty as social media can be, there's also a lot of good stuff that comes out of it. There's a lot of support groups, meaning like supportive communities. So depending on what field that you're looking to get into, you will always find a community of like-minded people that are willing to help you and champion for you. For women in general, I mean, I love that I'm living through this time where sisters love each other again. There's no, we're not being catty and talking about each other behind each other's backs and, oh my God, she looked fat in those pants and all this stuff. Like, women are loving other women, to the fullest right now. So you will always find somebody that is willing to support you and encourage you and give you a network or give you a connection. And that's what it's about. It's about connecting and networking and and it's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, like it's a constant like reaching out and having conversations, and you'd be surprised by one little tweet or posting something where he just says, you know what, I just need someone to say hello to me. The response will be through the roof, because there's a lot of kindness out there. And I think we just have to remember that it's there, and lift the veil of all the crap that everybody sees online, and disinformation and all that stuff. There really is a lot of kindness, and I think that if people fall back on that or look for it, they'll find it.
Yeah. I mean, you and I found each other on.
Absolutely, exactly.
We live only hours away, but we found each other on Twitter. So
yeah, exactly. No, and that's a good thing. And it's one little tiny, a word that might resonate with somebody that makes a huge difference, and it could change your life. But if you pass it up, you'll never know.
Yeah, and I do agree, especially now in very isolated timing that we're having right now. I think it's very important to be seeking for like-minded people on social media, wherever you can, right? Wherever you can get support, because right now it's the hardest time, and that's where all the kindness comes from too. I think people are pouring out in kindness. There's a lot of that going around on social media. I have to say, yes, I agree. There's a lot of negativity as well, but those are the things that you don't have to drift to, right? So
no, exactly. You block it out of your mind.
You want to.
Yeah, exactly. If you put out positive energy, it will find you. And absolutely. I'm a true believer in that. You put it out into the universe, you'll never regret being kind to people. And it will come back, tenfold, not because you're looking for a repayment or you're looking for accolades. It will reward you in a much more profound way from being kind to somebody.
I love that. So what if somebody's just, they know and they're actually an expert in it and they're really passionate, but they just haven't found that courage, let's say, or haven't found that, the ability to take that next step. So what would you recommend for that?
Yeah. Personality has a lot to do with that. People that are A-type personalities like myself, where I have no problem talking to anybody, and I don't worry about the backlash or the consequence or rejection, right? Whereas it's natural to feel rejected. But all I can say is that if it just be confident with your knowledge and keep pushing and keep knocking on doors, because no one's going to knock on your door. You're going to have to knock on 100 doors, and eventually you're going to find the person that you are meant to connect with, because you don't want to just take the first connection. Because you don't know if that's going to be, out of desperation, because there could be so much more available for you. So don't sell yourself short. Like your perfect connection will happen when it's supposed to happen.
So keep knocking those doors.
Yes, keep knocking on those doors.
All right.
Just be relentless.
Yes. Thank you so much, JB. Very enlightening and inspiring conversation.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
mean, obviously, thank you so much for sharing your journey as well and your insight with us. And congratulations on all your success so far.
Oh, thank you.
We'll put the links to your website and for your books as well. And we wish you more joy and success in the years to come.
Thank you, Lily. I so appreciate the time. And I mean, I'd love to chat with you again. Let me know if any of your listeners, want to reach out to me directly. They absolutely can. Even if they just want to say hi. I'd love to give advice and encouragement, because that's what it's all about. We got to stick together and coexist and lift each other, rise together.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Love your energy.
Thanks, Lily. Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Your thoughts on this episode is encouraged on all our social media platforms, which are listed in the podcast descriptions. I hope you will consider joining us on our online community. I look forward to seeing you there. If you like our programs, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on that bell to get notifications of any new programs. If you would like to continually support the growth of our social programs, please consider a one-time or a subscription of donations. To donate, visit ourinnersparks.com/partnership. products/donations. Please feel free to email us at ourinnersparks@gmail.com. Should you or someone in your life have been actively contributing in the community and have some expertise that could be shared on our podcast, please feel free to email me with a nomination for future features. Again, the email is ourinnersparks@gmail.com. Thank you again for listening to this episode of Our Inner Sparks Featured Insights.